In this video, we're going to take a look at naming cells and ranges. In Excel, naming cells and ranges can be very helpful because we can refer to those cells or ranges without reference to their actual cell address. So, for example, here we have a list of employees and their ages are shown in column D. We also have their GPA and their salary. So let's say we come over here and we want to do an average of their ages. I type in equals average, open parentheses, and then to take the average, we have to go back to cell D3 here and select all the way down to D17, and then we push enter and it calculates the average. But notice when we did that the average formula had to specify which ranges of the cells, right here, D3 through D17. So instead of doing this, we can actually name a cell or a range. For example, let's just say we look at Alice's age, 49. I can click on this cell, and here in the top left, the name comes up as D3. I can rename that to Alice underscore age and click enter. Now, you can't use spaces or special characters in a named range, so that's why we put the underscore in there. After I type that in, before I go and click on anything else, I have to push enter. So after I've hit enter on my keyboard, and notice that when I click off of it, now I'm on cell C3. When I come back here to D3, it now says Alice underscore age. That's the name of this particular cell now. So now we can come over here to a different cell and just equal Alice's age. And I start to type it in, you'll notice it pulls up a list there with Alice age, and if I hit tab, it references that cell and I can push enter, and now I have 49. Let's say I want to multiply by 5. So instead of coming over and typing in 49 times 5, I can reference this cell, which automatically recognizes it as Alice underscore age, and I hit multiply by 5. So this can be helpful because I can now refer to a cell without even knowing exactly where it is, just by referring to the name that I gave it. We can also name an array of cells, or in other words, an entire range. So let's say that I want to select the entire age range, and I call that age, enter. I can do the same thing with the GPA and the salary. I'll also create named ranges for the employee names. I'll just call it name, and for their positions. I'll call it job. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 named ranges and 1 named cell. So I can come over here to another cell, and let's say I want to calculate the average of the ages. Instead of having to select the entire age range like I did before, I can just type in average and then type in age, close parenthesis, enter. This allows you to do formulas much more quickly. So this is helpful especially when I'm dealing with calculations that exist on other sheets. So for example, let's say I add a new sheet here. Let's say I want to calculate the average GPA from the other sheet. Here I can type in equals average and then GPA, and it recognizes it, close parentheses, and enter. In this case, I didn't even have to flip back over to the other sheet to select the range because I knew the name that I gave it. I could do something similar for salary. So let's say I want the total. I could use the sum formula and type in their salary. And now I have the sum total of all of those salaries that we created a named range for. Now once I've created these named ranges, I can always see which ones they are by clicking this drop-down list, and you'll see them here. I can click on any of these from the drop-down list, and it will take me to the location in the workbook of that named range. Let's suppose we make a mistake though, and we really didn't want to call this cell Alice age. Instead, we just want to call it Alice. If I go up to this top left box here and just type in Alice and press enter, you'll notice that that works. But if I click the drop-down list, you'll notice there's now both Alice and Alice underscore age. So over here, if I type equals Alice or equals Alice age, both of those formulas still work. It recognizes that name. There are now 2 named ranges that refer to that same cell. But let's suppose that I don't want duplicate names. I want to remove or delete the other Alice underscore age. So to do this, or to make edits to any named range, click on the Formulas tab, and right in the middle of the screen here, you'll see Name Manager. If you select that, this dialog box gives you all of the details for every named range that exists in the sheet. It shows you a value if it has one, it shows you what cells it refers to, and it shows you the scope, which in this case, they all are accessible throughout the entire workbook. So if I want to remove Alice_age, I just select it and choose the delete button and confirm that. When I hit close, you'll notice these cells now have errors in them because it does not recognize the name. So when we do make edits or remove a named range, we need to be aware of what formulas might be impacted by that. But let's say that I add a new employee at the bottom and I need to now change the range that these names select. Right in here, I can click right into the cell and I could change this from 17 to 18. Click the green check box and now it's updated. Same thing here with name. This dialog box allows you to make all those types of edits in one place across all named ranges in your workbook. So that's how we use named ranges. These can be very, very useful, especially when our spreadsheets get really large and have lots of information with lots of different sheets, and we can't remember which cell locations things are located at. It can also make it easier when we're creating formulas to simplify the problem-solving process by seeing exactly what you're referring to in the formula via a named range, instead of having to reference every unique cell or range in each formula.